In request accepted.
I had myself muted. I didn't hit that button right. Good morning, New Eden. Today is September 14th, 2025, and this is the Federation Frontline Report. I'm your host, Frozen Fallout. My co-host is Nightflyer. What's up?
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for tuning into the show. So the Warzone is kind of flipping back and forth again.
Oh
Frozen.
yeah, there is some
This
shake up
week,
here
I
for sure.
can
Where
obviously say summertime is now over, and the Caldari are back in ships. So I don't know if it's the war down south kind of cooling off,
well, it seems like there's
Caldari
been
are
like
back on.
a push to keep out of Akaman and in the northern parts, and that is very far for all of us. Like, most of us live
Yeah,
still, even if we're living out of Naga and Sujirento and stuff like that, our force projection really starts to taper out at about that point
Mhm.
here in Akaman. And so Risato is also not, a it's a very pirate infested kind of system, um, so it can be a little bit harder to just hold on to. Which it right now is at 95.6%. Um, and so yeah, we have been put on the back foot on the north. Um, for sure, we've got Vivalier and Okamon, or sorry, Vivalier, Okamon. Well, Okamon, where
Mhm.
is Okamon? Like a completely different place, isn't it? Anyways, Vivalier, Eneluri, they're on Hallinen's doorstep right now. Have it at 50%, 55%, 41%. I know that was a staging area for the Galente, and that the Keldari are we're staging out of like Avonin, and there's definitely staging that happens out of Nenemelia for the general militia for both sides, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Um, so this front line doesn't look to be going away anytime, and there's currently a battlefield actually ongoing. Um,
Yeah, up in Anima, there's been some battling back and forth. I know Rivet's been up there. They've been pinging out for the last at least hour or so.
and
Probably a little bit longer.
46 to 44, Galente are finally have gone from their high of around, I want to say 60 ish, maybe 55 or something like that. I could be wrong on that. It might just be blowing. I'm just making numbers up, by the way. It's just kind of based off of what I'm trying to remember. Um, but yeah, we were kicking ass. We've definitely been pushed back in the north quite a bit. A lot of efforts in the north have fallen. Um, so this is an interesting. I mean, one of the things that I like about Eve is that it's a even in faction warfare where it like kind of the space doesn't matter, docking rights and stuff like that, right? But it just that minimal amount, and the fact that it's kind of a pride thing, and it's just a measurement of how much you're quote unquote winning the war, regardless of just numbers and blowing stuff up. There is something to fight over to a small degree in faction warfare that is not super serious. I think that's another thing that kind of helps out with faction warfare, and there is
Yeah,
a balance that you have to do of how serious do you make it. They at one point made it really serious, and now it's very hey, how it goes Canuck. Um, you know, at one point you got discount in the LP store. You got like a percentage discount in the LP store for a short amount of time, and that was crazy. And you'd get to level 5, and you'd dump a bunch of LP at one point, and you'd have to try and buy as much as you can within like a 10-minute time spree. And
Before it went worthless again.
but then there was then they switched it over to being where if you owned more space, you got more LP for plexing, but you could plex anywhere. So like if the one thing that you had to, the only reason why the battlefields went back and forth is because the farmers of it were basically using the mechanic that once you've won the war zone, you can't really make any good LP anymore. So you let that come back, and you would go for the other side and push really hard very quickly, and you'd balance it out. Like usually it wasn't like take over.
You switch over to your other alt, and then
farm that side. You know, it kind of like there was this ebb and flow of back and forth. Sometimes some would be more victorious for longer, but now it is a lot more chill, where that, you know, it's all about the front lines, and I really like that the front line system that they've come up with. I'm surprised it's not as popular. I feel like it should have got way more popular, and I feel like our popularity in faction warfare has stayed about the same for like the last like 10 years basically. Although that is the Galactic
so unless you're doing,
because I know a Marsh is shook up a little bit more.
So unless you're doing anytime now the only reason to own any system in faction warfare is if it's a system you're doing production in, right? Because that's, you can spend your LP to make it more profitable for you to do manufacturing.
Yeah, that's something that that you learn.
Really, the only reason. So, yeah, I guess it's the mechanic that's been
in order to do
that.
But everybody gets that bonus, even neutral people, I believe. Like it's just a bonus on the system. I would like to see some more boosts in the possible, like, enhancing backline systems to have more ratting and weird other, like, things that are just already super dangerous. Like, why not have a whole bunch of sanctums and stuff like that for people to be able to farm if they want? And, you know, nobody's farming these in safety comparatively to 0.0. I'm a big advocate of throw everything at low sec at this point. Fuck 0.0. The 0.0 is where you should be able to build a sandcastle and make it cool, and that's fine. You should be able to do that and be able to build your own thing. But the most dangerous space should be low sec, and it should be filled with tons and tons of resources. And the reason why people don't take control over it isn't because it's shit space. It's because it's so valuable that everybody's fighting over it. Like, and then follow the rules of low sec change everything up. Like not being able to own a system. The other thing though that I would probably, the only problem with low sec currently that I can think of, I can think actually a lot. I take back the only. Is that there's an issue with citadels and ownership of space. You could definitely own space kind of in low sec. So the more powerful that you make low sec, the more likely that you have like the CFC or mega coalitions really pouring into low sec. My counter to that is bring it. Like that, like good. That means a ton of people are coming to low sec to do stuff. And so I don't know if you agree with that. Let us know in the comments. I'd like to know what people think about making low sec like the bomb. Like that's Everywhere else is kind of stays the same. Let's do a low sec expansion that just makes low sec awesome. And part of that expansion is making faction warfare space like upgradable so that you can pull in, and maybe even have something like that. It's standing space too. So if people come in and try neutrals try running the stuff, that it lowers the standings. The rats that you kill are all Galente rats. But they also have like some kind of really good drop, kind of thing. Anyways,
we got talking at the Michigan meetup a couple weeks ago. I was talking with somebody, and the person hosting was from high sec. I'm from low sec, and the other pilots are all from null sec. They were all with goons or some variation thereof. And I was like, well, low sec's the most dangerous part. And they kind of disagree. And I said, okay, well, undock your Oracle in low sec. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll lose it. Well, yeah, that's why it's the most dangerous thing. And they're like, well, no, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to take the risk of losing it because it's not worth using in low sec. There's not enough, mining, or, it's not affordable to do it that way. I'm like, well, you're right, obviously. Your risk reward's not there.
That's the whole
reward you would get from having an Oracle in low sec, but still, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it.
I think that the argument is that they'd come in force, right? And so that they'd have, because like right now in faction warfare, a 5-person group can have a strong influence, I think, on the war zone. Like small, you don't need to be in the hundreds or the thousands.
No,
so the idea is
dedicated pilots that are willing to put the time in.
If they had a super capital umbrella, then they would be perfectly safe to do what they do. The thing is that I think that comes from the mentality of that's how it is out in low sec, or sorry, in 0.0, and that there are groups that do dominate. Like Snuff can run beacons in low sec, and that's actually a huge profit increase, is to do beacons because of the bounty increase that you get. For so it can double the bounty on all of the ships that you blow up. So
do you know if they do? Do you know if Snuff has done that? Even though
it
makes sense that they could or would. I haven't seen them do it,
but
it does make sense now you bring it up. I never thought about it. Like, why else are they undocking a carrier? Like, it does, so it does make sense when you say that like, oh, that would be a reason why I would see some of those in space out in Tama and Suzerainto and like that. So
usually you'll see a beacon.
Again, I don't know enough about that mechanic really, but
it's even if I did, I don't know that they could dominate low sec with ease if they wanted to. And the thing about it is that low sec is so different. It's so it's such a huge change up in game mechanics that, and the ability not to own the whole idea of NPC stations, no bubbles. So if you get into huge fleet fights, you're not able to like hold down entire fleets. You're at best you're killing. Like once they want to get out, they just get the fuck out. Like, because if there's 300 of them, the most you're gonna have tackled is like 20 or something like that. Like, so but you can't force a fleet engagement to stay. You can't use doomsdays as well. You can use, I think, focused doomsdays now work in low sec, but could be wrong on that.
No, I think you're right.
But the area.
Because I want to say that when they had the Big Brother Old Man Star a few weeks ago, Snuff and others were an Old Man Star, and that was a thing. I remember some of the news guys kind of pointing out. Luckily, unfortunately, I wasn't able to take part in any of that shenanigans, but
I missed out on that.
A lot of big ships. Yeah, a lot of big ships. Yeah, the end of this summer has been really weird. Like for me, been really busy. I'm at that age now where a lot of my friends' kids and stuff are getting married. So,
right.
My
Busy
son's best
summers.
friend got married yesterday, so so I just been my weekends are filled up with stuff. Not only do I have my normal chores that my wife makes me do before I can play my video games. I've got those obligations too out there too. But it's just been a really hectic summer so far. So and now but now we're gonna go right into the holidays.
Yeah, so that's
But I
but then
think
there's gonna be winter. It just is. It's easier
yeah.
to just crunch
But
down.
as far as the Warzone goes, I mean, you and I were talking about it pre-show. We prefer the Warzone to be consolidated down towards the south. But
Yeah,
kind of go back to the point you got to of like being out in space. Like, I was just kind of looking at the map, and there are several. I have I'm just calling it even dozen systems in the northern part of the Warzone that I've never been to, and I don't know if there's any real incentive or reason for me to go to the backline systems way up in the far north. The payouts not. It's actually worse than if I just stayed in the frontline system.
well, that's
But it
kind
would be
of the
neat if there was
idea
some
because
mechanic with
back in,
ratting and stuff. Yeah.
but yeah, if there was some I think that using one, you could go hunt their ratters, and two, you could hunt your
Mhm.
own ratters, and three, you could do some ratting of your own. Um, I don't know. I'm all for bringing life to Losec and having it be brutal, like that there, and maybe even adding in more brutal mechanics,
Mhm.
like maybe you only get an armor timer on all structures in Losec. That you don't no matter what. So if you put up a keep star in Losec, it's only got one timer. Everybody's shit gets blown up in Losec. um, and uh, even just other kind of mechanics around just what it has right now actually is just fine to, and using the dead space stuff where you can't drop
Yeah.
in dreads and shit like that evens up the playground quite a bit, where you can't hot drop in on people. So I don't know, I think there's a lot of expansion that could be done to make low sec cooler. But anyways, let's go on to the main story here. Let's pull up these patch notes. So on what
Yeah.
was it? September 11th, I believe.
11,
No,
12, yeah. So Friday or Saturday, depending on where you are.
no, it would be the major expansion, the Legion major
Oh,
updates
not
is
this one.
on
All right, yeah.
September 9th. Um,
There
so it has been um, about 6 days now. So this came out just right after we released our last episode, basically. And this does bring a solid amount of change to the game. Let me double check something here real quick. Some of the things that I really quickly want to point out that have been patched just recently. The main one being the Marauder is a ship that has a Bastion module on it. In order to activate this is how you increase your damage and all this other stuff, and you kind of go into a 1 minute siege mode where you can't move, but you enhance yourself quite a bit. And the requirement for that changed at patch day, where it forced them to use red mode, where you've turned off all of your safeties, and basically it allows you to do stuff that could get yourself killed. And that I thought was wow, that's gonna be a really nasty. That's gonna be a really nasty kind of event for people that are if this is permanent, it was gonna be really rough. But if it was an accident, I'm sure there's a few Marauders that accidentally got concorded that day by doing something unsafe. But yeah, let's take a look at one of the some of the notes here. So 50 drones to 20 drones for assist.
Right.
So assist is not gone, but assist is now reduced to basically using 4 other ships. You can, maybe get a little bit more out of Gillas for strength wise, but for the majority of drone assisting, you've got one person gets 5 or 4 people, so to assist to that person, so a total of a 5-person gang, which is um, still a lot of multi-boxing groups, you know. Um, and it's still going to be pretty powerful to be able to assign all of your stuff to the to one person and have them do that. But they basically argue that they believe that they want to have the niche gameplay of being able to assign drones in order to like get over damps and to get over being jammed and being any kind of like massive e-war that's kind of shutting down your ship to make it so that they can't target, which I guess is just damps and ECM. But there's also like gameplay of like decloaking players at a gate camp, stuff like that. So Sentry drones have increased their signature radius from 100 meters to 300 meters. So that's going to be quite a huge increase to the ability to hit a stationary, now extremely large, 3 times the size basically of their signature, and they're immobile.
Yeah.
So it should be a lot easier to kill sentry drones now. Big armor rig change here. They're changing it from being a max velocity to a agility penalty. And so I've heard mixed reviews about this, because one of the big things with fleets is being able to be mobile, not just in the sense of on the field, but like to chase something down. So armor fleets are not going to be as useful on like being nimble anymore. They're going to be quite a bit less nimble. And there is a new skill that apparently does nothing, basically. It might do like an extremely small amount. But the change to it is, or it's an additional skill, advanced armor layering, grants 2% reduction of mass penalty of plates per level. Apparently this at level 5 doesn't really change anything. So we'll see what the how it all kind of shakes out in the end. It is an advanced ranks 5 skill, and it is about 15 to 19 million in ISK in order for you to buy. It does an extremely small amount, but because the like 10% mass penalty reduction sounds pretty good. And I guess stacking it with, I wonder, E&Is would be, and some other ships might be some of the really good test beds for this, to see how much you can try and stack that bonus on top of other stuff. But it by itself is not really doing anything for the majority of armor ships, from my understanding. But so interesting changes that are supposed to really help the armor ships, and I don't think this does a great job of enhancing. Now, one of the things that it does do is, I do have to say that it becomes, for ships like the Comet, you almost always had to go with a hull tank for its armor rigs, because the rigs themselves would slow down your. If you did an armor rig, you would slow down your speed, and that was pretty big hit. So in an actual fight where you're dogfighting in frigates, this has kind of opened up some areas. I think. Other than that, I think that it. I don't know. I don't see this greatly changing anything to do with armor at this point. It just kind of changes one annoyance for a different annoyance and a switch over. Which you're definitely not going to be trying to chase somebody down with a heavily armor rigged fleet.
No, but I can see from the physics standpoint where it kind of makes sense. I think of like a train. It's extremely heavy, but can go fast. And if you add, more weight to it, doesn't prevent that train from going, as fast. It can still go fast. But yeah, mass is. But when you increase mass, your agility, inertia is going to be affected. So, I think from a physics standpoint, it makes a little more sense in my head anyway. But I was just kind of playing with it because I have that trained up to 4. I'm not going to train up to 5 right now. I just don't want to waste the 1,000,000 skill points to do advanced armor layering 5 for a 2% gain. But it made a significant. What ship is this? I was on a Dragoon, which was my armor ship, and it went from around 1,200 meters a second. Added those 4, and now I'm up to 1,480 meters a second. So it did have almost 200, I'd say call it around 250 meters a second faster by adding, the first 4 advanced armor layerings on it. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it does say that they are focusing on smaller ships and armor hacks. So I am interested to see which ships this. Like, I bet you the ENI might get some help from this, is because it's already, with the advanced skill and going to armor rigs and stuff like that. You could do some fun stuff, maybe with some enhancements on the. What is the armor hack for the Gallente? Not the Ishtar, but the.
Wait. Armor hack. The other one, the Deimos.
Deimos. Wow. Yeah. There we go. Oh yeah. But yes. So.
That's the heavy assault. Yeah, hack. Heavy assault.
Thanks, Gary, as well. Yes.
Now you got me like second guessing. I'm like, is he trying to say that or the Phobos? I'm like, no.
I was like,
Deimos.
Sorry. I wonder how the Deimos kind of, because you want that to be a fast ship that can kind of get on top of your target, less of like being really agile and more of like just get me from point A to B as fast as possible so I can punch it in the face. So we'll see how that kind of shakes things up. I don't think it's going to be a huge shakeup, but I think that it will hopefully add some more options for people and have make people rethink armor, and hopefully be an overall boon for the armor ships out there. So the next thing that they're doing is the encounter surveillance sites. So the ESSs, the things that you go steal and rob the banks, will no longer allow you to cloak within 500 kilometers now instead of 150 kilometers. So that should be a boon to attackers, which I like. I'm an attacker whenever, and I'm thinking next Wednesday we might probably go out and do some ESS hunting, and just do like a small
that'd be fun.
ESS aggravation, and then just kind of yeet around and see what kind of shit we can stir up.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done something like that.
So that should help with not being cloak ambushed as easily inside of an ESS. You'd have to have like 3 cloaked Bouchers at 500 kilometers, like 4 or 5 cloaked Bouchers, and like not impossible, but this is also, there is a reduction to the Marauder. So it's minus 70% micro warp drive, micro jump drive reactivation cooldown roll bonus completely removed. That's huge. That's like, that makes it so it no longer can bounce around the field in PvE or PvP. And PvE, this is a thing. I think it's less hurt in the PvE role, but definitely a pound in the PvE role. But makes it definitely get hit in the PvP role, which is what they're looking for. Yeah, the Marauders are kind of back to being almost useless. And to be honest, I'm not really too sad about that, because I don't fly Marauders, and rarely did I see really good opportunities to fight Marauders. A lot of the times Marauders were used to be oppressive. And yes, the Repper hit that they're taking is huge. So where is... Yeah, so that goes into the Bastion mode. So we'll get to that here in a second. The other big, huge change is that Marauders are not allowed in the ESS anymore. So they're no longer going to be used in the defense of banks, which was another area that they were fairly oppressive at. And, like, you could set yourself up so that just, especially people that were multi-boxing could, like, throw a couple Marauders at the situation and, fight off, like, any kind of gang that's under, like, a certain size, because you can't get reinforcements in as easily. There's a lot that just makes it so that in the ESS the Marauder was king. So I think that this opens up some more options. Also, the Vargur got its 7.5 fall off bonus per Minmatar battleship level reduced to 5. So a little bit of a hit on the Vargur's range. A pretty decent one, because it's a per level reduction from 7.5 to 5. And I mean, the Vargur also gets a huge hit coming up here. So the Bastion module is an change to an armor repair and shield boost amount reduced from 100% to 60% while active. Added a new bonus, 20% reduction to the cycle time and capacitor cost of armor and shield boosters while activated. This whole change makes it so that now a armor and normal shield booster, like trying to get like a perma tank through having your shield booster running for a long time, get no change really. If I've kind of felt a little bit of a nerf, to be honest. Maybe I'm just miscalculating some things or misremembering, but I feel like I took somewhat of a hit on my Marauder that I do level 4 mission running in. It's a giant nerf, but I mean, like, to my armor Marauder, which but the nerf is huge for any kind of ancillary shield boosters and kind of ancillary armor boosters. So anything that's ancillary now kind of gets a hit, because it can. You're looking for big reps. You're not necessarily looking for smaller reps with faster. Yeah, it does start like hitting caps. I feel like there is a big hit to the stability of cap, even like when they're saying that it should balance it out, but yeah, they're definitely, they fucked with it. Hey Blue, what's up? So yeah, that's that's definitely just an overall nerf, but ancillary stuff gets hit really hard as well. Let's see here. Tactical destroyers are now inside of the ESS. Oh, I actually did. So, do you fly Marauder at all, Night Flyer?
I do have a Varger, but it's in Yvangir right now. I moved it over when we had a thing, but yeah, like you were saying, there's just not a lot of chances to really undock it in the low sec where we're at. I thought about maybe trading mine out and just letting it be used for ratting with one of my alts, but still want to keep it just because, I think there's that time where you're just like, hey, I need some. We need Marauders. I know that fight's going to happen, and so I want to make sure I have something readily available. But from where my Varger came from to where it's at now, because it got nerfed pretty good last year. Then they lost a lot of cap, and I know I had to take off one of my top modules, one of my high modules to keep it going, and I don't know what I want to put in that empty slot now that it doesn't push me over my cap. So, but yes, I do have them. I have flown them, but on a general rule, I don't. I mean, they just for the bang for the buck for the billion or whatever that I have into this Marauder, probably a little bit higher than that actually.
Yeah, Carolyn is.
There's just so many other ships I could throw away.
A while ago, they took out the plate extender bonus as well, so you couldn't. It was designed to be a focus on making sure that it's a rep ship and not a ship that you can just stack a bunch of armor or shield and make it a really good shield, so multiple people shooting at it at a certain level. Once you get over like 50 people, it just overwhelms the thing. Unless you're gone.
Yeah, I know something had to be done there.
Which this is really hurting. But
yeah, they're still trying to say they're trying to keep it that apex predator, and I think it still is, even with these things. If someone drops a Marauder on field, you got to pay attention. So I don't think that this is like, oh, it's just a Marauder, no one cares, we'll just keep flying. Like, no, you're gonna get smoked. So, but they were definitely, if you go back like a year and a half ago, let's call it a year and a half, they were just so dominant in so many areas of the game that something had to be done, and CCP recognized that, and the CSM recognized that also. So, I think they're trying to pull these little levers and see if they can get them more in balance. I think this is probably a good change overall. But yeah, I mean, I do have to figure out how I'm going to refit my Marauder. So I don't know if anybody's got good ideas. Put it in the notes.
All right, so next big thing is the tactical destroyers. Oh yeah, we already talked about that. So the Confessor and the Swivel, they have some new bonuses here. So the Confessor now gets a 33% bonus to armor repair, remote armor repair amount, and reduction to activation cost. The Swivel also, Svipple also gets this bonus when in defensive mode. So just a whole added bonus to these two, so that they have now become the T3 destroyer healers, which is actually really cool. The only thing that I'm really sad about is that it can't make it into into any plexing besides the advanced stuff. But it would be kind of cool to see how people use this as a it's not going to have really great range. Still, is one of the biggest problems. So you're going to have to be really tight, close. But 33% bonus to armor, remote armor repair amount is not. I don't know. Not great, but it's not. The more that I think about it, the more I'm going, you know what? I don't know. I don't think that's going to really change up too much. It might a little bit.
But I'm happy to see
We'll
that.
definitely see it get used, I think.
I'm happy to see the damage increase in the velocity. I actually do a lot of ratting in my Sithball on one of my alts, because that's where his training was kind of lined up with at the time, and I had one, and so I just retooled it for him to use in ratting. And so I used it for a lot of hunting high sec DED sites. When I'm just kind of screwing around, and yeah, a little bit more damage might help make it through there a little quicker. Like I said, I know the setup's not ideal for doing that. There's a lot of other ships that you could probably do it a lot faster, be more economical and more profitable, but that's the way I do it. It's kind of using the tools I have. If I cared a lot more, I would put more effort into it, but like I said, it goes out, it finds the sites, and it can do them. So haven't lost one yet. So if I can hit a little more damage, I'll take it.
Absolutely, yeah. So 5% to 7.5% for the tactical destroyer damage modifier, and then they also get another 20 meters per second each, which, pretty substantial. It's a 10% ish, almost a 10% bonus there. But yeah, the Swivel and Confessor have been suffering comparatively. So there is some overlap that these things kind of have and stuff. So it gives them kind of a new weird role. Let's see here. Ferox Navy issue takes huge hits. Our Keldari brethren are seeing that their King of Ferox is like our both the ENI and the Ferox, any kind of hybrid ship got kicked in the balls, and then a bigger kick in the balls came in with the Ferox Navy issue going from a 10% to a 7.5% damage boost to hybrids, medium hybrids. They had their tracking bonus reduced from 7.5 to 5%. It had its power grid reduced by 100, so it's at 1,250. It was at a 1,250 capacity or power grid, and it's now down to 1,150 power grid. CPU has also been reduced by 50 points. That's pretty fucking huge. It's a 10%. Like, to make that up, you would need a 10% fucking implant. Like, even more, because at 5. You'd only, at a 10% implant, you'd only get 51.5 CPU. It's ridiculous. Huge. And reduction to shield booster amount and CPU requirements per level bonus from 7.5 to 10. Improved. So it did reduction in shield booster power and CPU requirements per level bonus improved from 7.5 to 10%. Okay, so it does get a little bit of its CPU and power grid back a little bit. In that it'll be 10.15 or
well, I know I can't fly Ferox.
Increase.
Never have. Yeah, we never fly Ferox. Like, it's something that you don't see in Lulsec all that much. I mean, it's a battle cruiser. I guess they're not quite as prevalent as cruisers, though we do see battle cruisers more than battleships.
Yeah, it might be more.
The Ferox was just never a big thing. I have been seeing a lot of Nagas like pop up recently.
Yeah, I usually see Drakes, actually. we see the Keldari fielding would be a Drake over a Ferox Navy issue.
Yeah.
I believe that it's different for 0.0, that this is used as kind of a mainline ship to a certain degree, which is good. Anything that hurts the Keldari's money supply, like this makes the Ferox less viable in 0.0, then maybe their LP won't be worth as much. But that's a whole other discussion. Let's talk about this stupid fucking. I can't believe that they're nerfing my railguns even more. Medium railguns and large railguns. Tracking reduced by 10%, optimal range bonus, and fall off bonus. Or just optimal range, not bonus. Just their entire optimal range and their fall off has been reduced by 10%. For some reason, apparently, they believe because of like the rock and other sniper boats. I mean, the one thing is, I don't know. I don't think that I'm not happy about this, but we'll see.
No, I'm thinking this is a direct attack on the Galente because we don't have missile ships. We don't we don't have those long range missiles. Our long range weapons are the rails, and their tracking sucks anyway. So to make it worse, and I just like to point out in their notes that they point out the Vulture, the Ferox, the Naga, and the Rourke. You know what those 4 ships are? They are not Galente ships, are they?
Yeah.
So
No.
we're not the problem.
They don't even care.
So,
and
but this is going to directly affect us the most.
Blame the fucking Ferox. Yeah.
So, yeah, because we used to do the rail ENIs a lot. We still use them in battlefields quite a bit, but for the most part, when I'm outfitting, fleets of ENIs, I'm just using blasters on them now. It kind of sucks because I think it's too far away from you. Anything outside of 10K, you're going to have a lot of trouble, applying damage. But if you can get into somebody's face, you'll destroy them. But the rails were just nice to have as that option.
Yeah, I think that this does push me. The one thing that this does help is make me be more determined to do blaster boats with my ENIs and just say, fuck it, let's just make scenarios where people land at 0 and we use blasters to kill. Stop, no long range shit with the Galente stuff anymore. I'm going to use my full force of a fucking blaster and just do the best damage you possibly can.
Yeah. You can switch out to those. Yeah, so the Rail Ferox was used a lot in Nullsec, and I've talked to people too, because like I said, I have a lot of friends that are goons. I was at the meeting with a lot of goons, and pretty much the thing, like if you have an alt, you put them in these big corporations, and you train them up so that they can shoot, a rail fit Ferox. So you can join a fleet and press F1. That's all you have to do, and that's okay. Like I said, it.
I mean, well,
I'm just not happy. I don't think either one of us are happy about it, though. So. So you can screw with the Ferox and the FNI. You can screw with the Rourke.
I'm not happy with it, but I will say this: that I'm not. I do see the reason why they're doing some of these things, and it is about just shaking up the meta and fucking with shit. So on a level of like, does this make me hate the game or love the game more? It's probably neutral. I don't think that some of the stuff that I've seen so far is fairly neutral. Maybe some bonuses from fucking with drone assist. I think that more drone assist fuck drone assist, because we do deal with people who bring in like 10, 15 multi-box, and like and all they do is just assign drones, and it's crazy. Trip says Maelstrom seems to be making a comeback with the change. Ran into a 100-man horde fleet running them last night. That's cool. See, and this is
That's
one
funny.
of
I'm
the
kind of
things is that
flopping through there.
they change things up so that new ships become the thing that people are going to be out flying and trying out and stuff. So it's a game. They want to keep things going, so they're nerfing. And the one thing that and to be honest, you do have to have a really good balance of nerfing and then boosting, and instead of just always boosting. But it is nicer when things kind of get boosted a little bit. Nerfing is when you take like a bad taste in the mouth for what's going on. If all other ships just got some kind of bonuses, and then it becomes harder as well because the more that you boost, you have to boost multiple things. So nerfing is they do a lot of like boosting everything all at once, and then they nerf individual ships with some minor boosts that they do sometimes when they see a ship. Anyways, continuing on, let's see what some other changes that we have here. But we're just griping and moaning and bitching basically throughout this whole thing. I'm, kind of fine with the Ferox. But Naglfar. So the Naglfar gets a mid slot for a low slot. Once again, I'm not too big into flying this. I know that this does take away some of its damage capacity, where it does have like a large rein on the concept of having a really good alpha, and should be a really good damage boat, to maybe giving it a little bit more of a tank, and maybe that might make it more viable. But their kind of setup here is that they want to make it more of an effective Hodred, and open the door for a stronger shield-based anti-capital turret dreadnought. To be honest, I don't think that the Phoenix is gonna reign in the shield department, and this doesn't really change without some kind of corresponding shield bonus. Makes it more of a shield tank, and get it into that role specifically. I don't think this is gonna change up too many things other than once again pissing people off. It's neither a buff nor a nerf. It's just a change. People hate change, but also that it is up to the game to create change, because you don't want. Overall, when you look at things, in the moment you hate change, but overall, it's usually like, okay. Luckily, things aren't stale. Let's see here. So the Sin is removing its logistics bonus, and adding a scrambler strength and scrambler range bonus on it. So warp scrambler range and warp scrambler effectiveness makes it easier at catching capital or super capital ships, and definitely helps it with overall just catching any kind of warp immunity or warp scrambler immunity that is on a ship. I think that this is a decent change. I don't think that the logistics drones were ever really used to full effect on a Sin. From what I've seen, I bet you there's some niche scenarios, some niche builds out there that people are pissed off about. But overall, I think that this is a net boost, and it only applies to scramblers, not to disruptors. So it is still a short-range boat. We've got the Apocalypse. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, we're going through all these changes and stuff, and I was just kind of looking. I'm going through the ship tree, just kind of looking because I don't have fits for this. I don't have fits for this. Like Ferox Navy issue, Ferox, Vulture work. I don't have fits for them because I never fly them. We never fly them, and I'm just kind of seeing a lot of these changes like you guys kind of bringing up like, oh, whatever. I'm kind of neutral, really vanilla with everything. Rails, yeah, that kind of sucks, but the Naglfar, like, actually, I can fly the Naglfar, but I don't. So, in the Sin, out of like all of the non-dread ships, so there's only like 4 non-transport ships of Galente's I can't fly. I'm not like trained to fly, and the Sin is one of them. So, again, just kind of going through what they're affecting. I'm sure there's people who do. I see them like they have been dropped in the tournament recently, but it just doesn't affect us so far. So, I mean, have you ever flown a Sin?
No, and if I was gonna, I would do like
Yeah,
a Widow or
yeah, right. Like, and that's kind of the thing
the
too.
Amar one.
Like,
so yeah, I think that's a good change.
yeah, the Redeemer. So, like, and I agree with you too. I would think or the Panther. I would think out of all 4, the Sin would probably be the last one I would fly. I would fly
with this change. I think that makes
the Widow,
at least
Panther,
feels a good niche
Redeemer.
role. Like, because you're gonna get another 5 kilometers out of your, 4 to 5 kilometers out of your, maybe a little bit more of the faction and
the scram,
special.
Yeah, I could see that.
So that gets you out to 20 some odd kilometers, and it definitely it'll fill a little bit of more of a niche, but only because you want to have that longer scram, and maybe because you're hunting a super. There's then you can have but you'd still need a bunch of Panthers, or not. Sorry,
yeah, I just seen like
you'd have to commit a bunch of Sin in order to hold down that mother.
I said I don't fly the Panther either, but I do know that the devs take out the Panthers quite often on their Friday fleets. So, yeah, I don't know. That's really the only exposure I have.
It is.
I would have to. Yeah, I would have to say probably Redeemer, and Widow would. Yeah, this probably I would put at the top 2.
So there's a rework that's happening to the Maelstrom, that it's going from high slots reduced from 8 to 7. It had its turrets reduced from 8 to 6. Gets a mid-slot increase from 6 to 7. Removed 5% bonus to the large projectile turret rate bonus per rate of fire, and added a 10% bonus to large projectile turret damage per level. So it does give it a solid upgrade to its actually, I don't think it gives a solid upgrade to its alpha. I believe that it goes down in DPS and in alpha. But it gets a mid. It also has its power grid reduced from 21,000 to 18,000. Of course, that also corresponds with it's not needing as much for its high slots. It does give a extra utility in its high slot, so that is a thing. And Trip did say that he saw the Maelstrom out and about by a Horde fleet. Could be, are they, is it because it's become popular, or are they testing it to see, to try and see what a new thing that they can kind of do with it, and if it works. But they hope that this will make it stand out a bit more from the other Minmatar projectile boats, like the Tempest fleet issue, by leaning into more towards Alpha Strike and less towards Rate of Fire. So it might get a bonus towards, I think Alpha Strike actually there is a decent boost to Alpha Strike here. And Alpha Strike is a very important thing. The funny thing is that they kind of call it out and say that it needs to be distinct from other Minmatar projectile ships. It calls out the Tempest that probably does a little bit more of the rate of fire, but the Minmatar are known for their Alpha Strike. Anyways, the Megathron gets a fairly healthy boost here. This is one thing that I am kind of happy about. Once again, I am a big
Yes.
big pro Galente ships. It is our Megatron Navy issue that I have a few of these sitting around. I probably will mess with these a little bit more now that this has been added. But tracking bonus improved from 7.5% to 10%. Added a 15% reduction.
Which was greatly needed.
Armor plate mass penalty per level, plus then you have the extra 10% that you're getting from the new skill that they put out there. Also, armor rigs are no longer affecting velocity as much, and it gets another 5 meters a second for velocity. So there should be, a net gain of this. Doesn't, with the railgun nerf, this kind of offsets that a little bit. A little, like, for the tracking, but just for the Megatron Navy issue. And if you go to blasters, this is like just a net overall much better, easier to get into hit range, to hold down to target and keep them down, especially in like a small gang scenario. So overall, I like that. Centipede. There's Centipede, right?
Cenotaph?
Cenotaph? Toph.
Cenotaph?
Cenotaph.
Yeah. Toph. Yep.
Has its LADAR signature strength reduced from 25 to 15. It takes a huge hit of 1,500 points from 5,000 to 3,050 for its armor. Its structure has been increased by 1,500 from 6,000 to 7,500. Low slots reduced from 3 to 2. The roll medium bonus projectile turret and heavy assault missile damage improved from 100% to 125%. It gets a small increase to its max velocity and an improvement of 0.05 to its agility from 0.6 to 0.55. And then LADAR strength 16 to 8 for the Thalos. So they make these a little bit more easier to jam, basically. And there are complaints of people are complaining how strong these things are in the wormholes, and to a lesser extent areas of space where very expensive high resistance ships are used at very close range about fixed locations. These fits allow the ship to survive even with 3-slot tank. In this environment, things like range and speed don't matter as much. So they kind of want to make a counterplay here of ECM.
Okay.
Interesting, because they're talking about how, because of the way that their main weapon, that is a dot effect that you throw onto people, and you can only throw onto one person at a time, is more affected by jams. So even if it's the whole field, if they get a jam, if they get some jams off, it can drop the number of pods spread in an optimal scenario from 7 to 5. Cyclone Fleet issue is getting a slight nerf here and is having its signature radius level reduction per level bonus reduced from 5 points to 3%, and 190 meters per second down to 180 meters per second, so fairly decent 10 meter per second reduction there, almost a 10% reduction. No, 5%, more like a 4, so 3.5, whatever percent reduction. Just looks like there's, just looking to do some minor mitigation reduction. Harbinger Navy issue. Power increased from 1,550 to 1,625. Myrmidon Navy issue. This is one that I'm also very happy about. Drone capacity increased from 250 to 300. Now additionally gets a 10% bonus to tracking per level, just like the Vexor. So there is a lot of complaints that people have had about how go with the Vexor Navy issue over the Myrmidon, specifically because of this bonus that the Vexor Navy issue gets. So this kind of makes it more of an upgrade to the Vexor. And I like that because I want to sell and use more Navy issue Myrmidons.
Yes. Sure.
The Tornado got nerfed on its agility a little bit, a small increase to its velocity by 5 meters per second, and its fall off bonus has been improved from 5 to 7.5%. This will make it harder to have like a 6-second aligned tornado, but they're giving you a little bit of a bonus for that. The Talos is becoming 15 meters a second faster, and the Deimos is becoming a little bit harder to hit, from 150 meters for its signature radius down to 120, so it should be a little bit harder of a target to hit. So I do see some love to the Gallente in this patch. Okay, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better, as we read through the notes here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take back my prior.
I've read these before, but I just have immediate reactions to what the fuck you doing. And, as normal, read more, and you might find out why. The Zealot gets also a rate of fire bonus. The rate of fire bonus is replaced with a 7.5 bonus to medium energy damage, which should help out with its capacitor to a certain degree. There is a 25% increased bonus to the drone max velocity for the Mamba. The Mechubal will have a bonus, new roll bonus added, 50% bonus to small projectile fall off. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
All of the Explorer Navy issues all got a bump, which is interesting. They got their capacitors all increased by quite a bit, actually. Like the Magnet got from 325 to 500, the Huron from 245. Actually, the Huron got barely anything. That's because Kildari suck. The Imicus
in comparison,
got 270 to 400.
They don't need it.
And the Probe Fleet issue got 235 to 280. So interesting. That's like a huge change up on that. I wonder what their whole so they've kept the recharge time about the same. By
I'll have to play. I do have some of the.
All right, and then we've got.
I do have some of the Imicus Navy issues. I don't fly them too often.
Skybreaker and the Stormbringer both got an added high slot. I've heard people are pretty happy about that. That kind of adds some more utility into the game here for those that they can put like a probe launcher, and other kind of interesting kind of things on there. So, an outpost construction skill reduction. This is reducing the manufacturing time. I guess, okay, it's a boost. Every little bit helps. Faction warfare. So this is a huge one, is that the pirate factions no longer allow you to go minus. So you have to have a 0.0 in order to... So it sounds like you don't have to have a bonus. Like, we have to have a bonus, 0.01 to join. They have to have a minimum of 0. Or maybe did they change that up? Maybe it is 0 now for everybody. I could be wrong. Let's see here. Insurgency balance. There's a whole thing on insurgencies where they're reducing the number of systems that need to be won baseline from 7 to 5, but they're increasing it so the max cap can still stay the same. Increasing the weight of the front line and command so that they more likely drop inside of the frontline systems. And then when a side owns 66% or more of the war zone, it is very likely that their side is the one that's going to have the insurgency base that'll land there. So just minor tweaks to that, where things are kind of landing. They're making it a little bit easier to kill some of the frigate or the NPC frigates. And they increased the shield hit points of pirate and Mordu's battleships by 50% to increase the time it takes to run the sites and make it give you a little bit more opportunity for players to get caught while running it. We'll see if that helps. 50% increased HP is quite a bit. How much that will actually translate into how much time they have to spend on the battlefield, kind of questionable on that. But I don't see that as a bad I don't do these pirate sites enough. So like these mining ambush sites and stuff like that, I feel like is pretty well dominated by the pirate factions. At least on the Gallente side, we don't have a mounted effort to go do these sites. If we do, then it's somebody doing it privately, kind of thing. With their own small group. The general militia never cares about any of this stuff. Well, not never. Every once in a while, like, hey, a mining site, we can go run it, or we got something to go shoot that's in there. Let's see here. You are now able to swap from male to female. I was really surprised that this hasn't been something that they implemented a long ass time ago. So that's super cool.
Yeah, right.
So you can change up your sex in Eve, but you still can't change your name. So, but there is a reason for that, and you should never be able to change your name in Eve because it should be a pure record. Your name should, but I like the idea that you can switch genders if you want, and you can have fun, and do, feel proper for what your character is if you want. If you made a mistake, you wanted to see boobs, you forgot that you should make a boob character. Now you can.
You can.
You're also getting a free, if you guys go into up until September 16th, which is a couple days away, probably when this will be I'll probably get this out tomorrow so that you can hear this if you listen to this day one. It'll be until September 16th that they are giving out 15,000 free skill points for everybody, not just Omega, and you get a free token to resculpt your character if you wish.
Very nice. Nice little thing.
So, they're also getting rid of the Lancers. This is brilliant. The Lancers are no longer going to be running around in HiSec, confusing players as to why they're like, oh, that's the NPCs I blew up in the tutorial. I wonder, let me just go beat them up now just to see what happens. Because you don't get a bonus or a bounty off of them or anything. So it's just like you just run up and start shooting them and see if maybe there's some stuff in them, and then you have like a whole fleet called down upon you and you get killed. Really taken out of left field there now. But also fobs are going to be less in high sec and are going to be more in low sec, so I agree with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's that. So it's no longer in high sec at all.
Yeah, they're out.
It'll be at higher rates in low, or it's only low sec, no high sec, and it'll be at a higher rate. So that's interesting. I like that. That makes that's another thing that you don't have to deal with, or that you have to deal with more in low sec now, but potential to make some money off of it. So there's some new buy order quantity changes so that they can make it easier to sell some stuff. There's new freelancer jobs, so now you can ask to destroy a specific capsuleer, which brings back the bounty system of old, but in a different kind of way. Also can be manipulated in the bounty system of old. However, the bounty system of old was always kind of open to everybody, right? No matter what iteration, it was always open to everybody. This is much more of hired guns, where you can create a contract for somebody to do specific hunting down and killing of a character. So more or less, it's I think it'll be used for like Goonswarm can pay general Goonswarm people to kill people in Pandemic Legion. It can be manipulated by that, or you can set it to a specific corporation, and you can kind of narrow things down a little bit on the side of who can accept it. So there is that right now. So it is a more advanced version of the bounty system, and we get the bounty system back, and I think that's cool, regardless of how gameable or fudgeable that system is. There's always going to be problems with putting a bounty on somebody's head who is immortal. I want you to kill them. Well, what happens when you kill them? Well, nothing. Like in the end, they're immortal.
Kill them again.
They just come back. And the loss of their ship is where it becomes important. I have not looked at how well that goes into. It says destroying a specific capsule in an organization, but how much if you just kill doesn't. Are you able to differentiate? And the big one is being able to, for the bounty system, is to be able to differentiate between shooting somebody in a 3 million-isk ship and killing somebody in a 5 billion-isk ship. Because in the bounty world, that's where it should matter. Because killing somebody doesn't really matter. What you killed that they had is much more important.
Mm-hmm.
There can be a small short incentivization to this as well. So, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing that they added it in, but I hope that it'll be evolved upon, or that it's already at a point where it can be based on the ship. That I haven't looked into much, but I will have to look into it more. We've got the remote boost shield reward, and the remote armor repair reward. So a little bit of love to all Logis. Some minor changes to Potch, smaller scale sites have had some of their mechanics kind of changed. I'm not going to get into this because I don't know anything about any of this. I don't feel like reading that all off, but if you're all into Pochvin, you might want to check out some of the minor changes that they had here. I don't see anything like crazy.
No.
Anyways, let's see. Some sleeper hive changes, some payout changes, flashpoint changes, some of the changes to the drifter officers within the vigilant point sites must now be destroyed before the next wave to increase the destroyed drifter commander count. So yes, that seems to be, some stuff that we'll just kind of skip over here, I think, unless you've got anything you want to talk about with that.
No,
go check it out.
No,
There's some changes to trick space, so.
Yeah, no, it's more interested in the science and industry changes.
I have nothing that I could comment on regarding any of that. So,
basically there's just
changes, I guess.
Yeah, they're pulling some levers with the Mad Max drills and things, so there's that.
Yes, this is actually a pretty huge one, is that magnetic gas, which is the one that was the big payout when I was doing heists, where I was going and stealing out of these skyhooks. And I kind of want to go back to maybe doing, now that time has kind of changed, and there should be, still some out there for me to steal from, I might go on some theft journeys. And maybe that's something that we do on a Wednesday night too. Because we could use it to find get a fight or get a bunch of money. But anyways, so the volume changed from 0.1 to 0.01. So you can fit 10 times as much. And before I was fitting like billions of ISK. So like, I hopefully will be able to steal a whole bunch more if I can. So,
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I'm I think that one of the things that we might switch over to on Wednesday nights, given the size of the groups that we've kind of had, is that this sounds more like we might be able to have a little bit more fun actually raiding ESSs and skyhooks with the small gang that we have, because we're just and if you guys want to help the front, man, we need more people on Wednesday nights. So around would be, let's see, what time is it right now? It's 2300. So yeah, it is at like midnight on Wednesday night, like just before midnight. Just before midnight Thursday, I guess, technically Eve time. But so it's around 7 o'clock Central Time that we normally go out on Wednesdays. We need more numbers. If we even could just get like 5 to 10 more people, we'd be huge. It would be a huge boost. So,
let's just do a little bit more.
Just a little bit. But this might get me. This change here makes it so I can stuff a lot more into my haulers. And it's still kind of fun. So let's see here. So there's more wormhole connections for C4s, it looks like. And once again, not much that I know of for wormhole space, but it sounds like there's more connections that are going to be happening.
Yeah, we should allow more content for those people in those wormholes. That's all I know about it, really.
Yeah, and so that's basically it. That's I don't think there's anything else of value that I can give you. Whether I've given you any value at all, I hope I gave some into some of the changes that have happened here. So take them for what you will, praise and be upset, and like all times that there's some kind of balance pass, it's all, let's get to the pitchforks, because that seems to be the emotion that CCP likes to bring out in people.
Yeah. But as I said, like I think all these changes are gonna upset somebody. Somebody in EVE's not gonna be happy with all the changes. You and I aren't happy with the rails, but pretty much all the other ones, like, you can take it or leave it. It just won't impact my daily play in it, but it will impact somebody's. So, if that's you, sorry. I hope you find another way to enjoy the game. But, yeah, I mean, the number. It's my understanding is that they.
Morocco says change is good.
Yeah. EVE players hate two things: change and when things stay the same. So.
Yeah.
Right?
I want nothing to change. I want 0.0 to be awesome, but why is 0.0 awesome? I want high sec to be awesome. Why is high sec so awesome? I want low sec to be awesome. Why is low sec so awesome? It's too easy to make money in faction warfare. What the fuck? But I want to make easy money in faction warfare. We definitely have a loud minority on all sides of issues. Like, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, there's always somebody that's pissed off about something, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Again, it's a great thing about this game. If there's something in it you don't like, go do something else. There's always something else to do. You don't like this area of space, go to a different area of space. You don't want to fly this ship, go fly a different ship. There's a bunch of them.
All right, well, I think that's our show then for tonight, unless there's anything else that you wanted to bring up. One of the things I do really quick want to say is that there is going to be the Steve... I do want to do a little bit of a Steve tribute. Hi, Steve. He's a super epic person in EVE Online. He passed away a while ago. We got the honor to have him in Corp fly with us. We fought him first, got him into the corporation after fighting with him in Uvangir, and just always had a really great time, whether he was in Corp or not. And he was a streamer. He was a really cool dude. So we are going to be one of the upcoming episodes when I can get Samson and Nightflyer on at the same time. And me, we're going to do a nice little tribute of looking over his kill board, talking about how we first met him, what kind of journey that we had with Steve, and how he brightened the life of at least us three, and I know many, many more people's lives in EVE Online.
100%. I said he was a cool cat, nice to fly with. Interesting stream, had good taste in music. So, he's sorely missed.
That dude had the balls of steel. He would take out some of the craziest bitch shit just to have it just to have some fun.
It's just blow it up.
Yeah,
we'll see if it gets blown up or not. Yep, it did. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and have a great night.
Good night, everybody.